Hi everyone. Now we'll discuss third unit, Introduction to the MS 430 architecture. In external exam you'll get the 30 marks on this unit, and here we are going to discuss solution for all the questions which are asked in question bank for embedded systems. Now we'll start from first question. The question number 1, list the features make the MS430 suitable for low power and portable applications. So ask for 5 marks. Here you have to list out all the features to make MS430 suitable for low power and portable applications. The first one, complete a system on chip which includes LCD controls, ADC, IO ports, ROM, RAM, basic timers, watchdog timers, UART, etc. So it is a complete system. In on chip it has all these hardwares and peripherals. Next feature is extremely low power consumption. It consumes very less power, that is only 4.2 nanowatt per instruction it is going to utilize. Next one, high speed. It going to run the instructions at the rate of 300 nanoseconds per instructions at 3.3 megahertz clock in register and register addressing modes. Next feature is RISC structure. It has a reduced instruction set computer, and here you will get 27 core instructions. That's orthogonal architectures. That means by using any register with any instructions you can write the programs. Next feature is 7 addressing modes for source operand, 4 addressing modes for the destination operands. Total you have 7 addressing modes to operate on the source operands, okay, and 4 addressing modes for the destination operands. It has constant generators for the most often used constants, that is in MS430 it gives some constant generator values. Those values are -1, 0, 1, 2, 4, 8. Only one external crystal required. Next feature is it needs only one external crystal, which is a frequency lock loop oscillator, derives all internal clocks. So MS430 is going to operate on different clocks which is gated from the only one external crystal clock. It has full real-time capability. It is stable. Nominal system clock frequency is available after only 6 clocks when MS430 is restored from low power mode LPM 3. These are main features, that is to make MS430 to operate in low power and portable applications. Now next question is, explain the naming and different families of MS430. Ask for 10 marks. Okay, sometimes they are going to ask for 5 marks also. Here you'll see how you are going to name one MS430 IC. Okay, if you want to deliver one IC, what are the naming should be, you have to do while manufacturing the MS430 IC, or if you purchase any MS430 IC, you have the some naming letters on every IC. Then what are letters and what is the meaning of those letters, we'll discuss one by one. Here you can see the figure. Here I have written the letters of MS430. It will be present on the every IC of MS430. MS430 FG4619IQZWR. Here first MSP is indicates mixed signal processor. Okay, the meaning of MSP. Next 430 means it is a member of 430 microcontroller platform. So you will get the different types of microcontroller platforms. Out of that, it's a 430 is a member of the one of the member of the microcontroller platform. F means it's a memory type. Which type of memory is there on chip of MS430? Here F means it has a flash. Suppose in place of F you have the C, it indicates ROM. If it has P means OTP, program memory. Okay. Next G, which is optional. In some device you can get the G, sometimes you will not get the G. Okay. It's a end equipment optimized. Here G indicates medical. That means this is the IC is designed for the medical purposes. E means E meters. For E meters you are using the MS430. Next G, G means that's sorry 4. Here it's given the 4. After G you have the 4. 4 means it indicates a generation. The IC belongs to which type of generation? Whether it is belongs to first generation or second generation, third generation or fourth generation or fifth generation. So depends on the number. It here indicates that 4 means it's a 4th generation IC. Next 6 indicates series of similar functions. It belongs to which series? That indicated by the 6. Okay. Next 1 and 9, both letters. 1 9 indicates it's a family of memory size and peripheral configurations. 1 9 indicates which family of MS430 you are using. You have the different families in basics MS430 ICs. So and the related memory size and how many peripherals and what are peripherals you can connect to the MS430. That configuration will be mentioned using this 19 number. Next one, I indicates temperature range. At how much temperature is sustained by the microcontroller of MS430. So here I indicates it is going to tolerate the temperature range between -40 to 85, and temperature again one more, so -40 to 105 degrees Celsius. And finally the QZW means it is a package. Which type of package you have for MS430? That is quad package or dual in package, like that. It gives a package type. R is again optional. It may be present, may not be present. So optional means R is equal to tape and reel. Okay. And now you can see that currently 4 families. After the naming they are asking to explain different families of MS430. Here we will discuss now families. Currently in MS430 4 families are there. The letters after MS430 shows the type of memories. Here most of the part numbers are included. F for flash, but some have C for the ROM, like that. Already I have explained. Okay, you go through this one. So next we'll see different families of MS430. Here first one, MS430 X1XX. In place of here you can have to mention the type memories. Next you can mention the different package type, temperature remaining you can mention according to the families, and according to the usage these are going to change. Only 1 indicates first generation, second 2 indicates second generation, 3 indicates third, 4 indicates fifth. Here MS430X1XX means it is the first generation. It provides a wide range of general purpose devices from simple versions to complete system for processing the signals. And there is a broad selection of peripherals, and some include hardware multipliers, which can be used as a rudimentary digital signal processor, and it comes the package having the pins of 20 to 64 pins. The most of the time this family is mainly used for general purpose applications, and which is going to perform different arithmetic operations also using hardware multipliers. Now next, MS430 F2XX. Here it has the inbuilt flash memory by indicated by the F. It's a newer again general purpose family introduced in 2005. Its CPU can run at 16 megahertz, and double the speed of earlier devices. Compared to previously, the speed of this device is almost double because of the you are using the crystals of 16 megahertz while consuming only half the current at the same speed. And some comes in 14 pin packages, includes a traditional plastic dual N line options. It come up with the dual N package with the plastic. That's why it is called as PDIP option. Next one, MS430 X3XX, the version family which includes drivers for LCDs. It is now obsolescent. Next family is MS430 X4XX. This is used for to drive LCDs with up to 160 segments. Many of them are ASSPs, that is application specific products, but there are some are general purpose devices as well. So 4th generation onwards, some of the MS430 are used for application specific also, and some of used for the general purpose devices as well. And their package is having the pins of 48 to 113 pins. The pin numbers increased, and many of which are needed for the LCD purposes. And last one, MS430X, the original MS430 architecture, now extended to give the MS430X in 2006, mainly so that it can address extra memory but with other improvements as well. Next question is, list the functions of different pins of MS430. So ask for 5 marks. Here you can see the pin diagram of MS430, okay, and as well as you have to explain all the functions of different pins. You can see the pinout of MS430. This is 14 pin IC, and most of the pins are multifunctional. You can see in the diagram, you will understand every pin has more than one functions. Some of the pins is going to perform different addressing modes, clock operations, timer operations, and it is going to give some non-muscular interrupts, and some pins are used to reset the systems, some pins used for test the bits. Like that, you have the different functions for every pin. This is the top view of MS430. Now we'll see the functions of all the pin details one by one. The pinout for the PDIP and TSSOP packages as shown in the figure in previous slide. Perhaps the most obvious feature is that almost all the pins has several functions. This is a common feature you can see from the diagram. Here VCC and VSS are the supply voltage and ground pins that's required if you want to work with the IC, and the analog and digital supplies are separately in 16 pin packages, but here are same packages. And here P1.0 to P1.7, P2.6 and P2.7 are used for mainly digital inputs and outputs. You have seen in the diagrams, these are pins are reserved for the digital operations grouped into ports of PA1 and P2. Next one, auxiliary clock, that is timer auxiliary clock, TA0 and TA1 are associated with the timer A. Here for timer A clock and timer A0 and timer A1 mainly used for the timer functions, and timer auxiliary clock can be used as clock input to the timers. If you are using timers in your MS430, you have to use these are the inputs for the timers, while TA0 and TA1 can be either inputs or outputs, and this can be used on several pins because of the timers. Again, continue part of the functions of the pins A0 minus A0 plus and so on up to A4 plus or minus are inputs to the analog to digital converters. So in MS430 you are going to use the ADCs to convert analog values to digital values. For that, the input for the analog values is given through the A0 to the A4 plus or minus. It has 4 differential channels, each of which has negative and positive inputs. And here P reference is the reference voltage for your ADC converters. Next we will see for the clocks, what are the different types of clocks are available in MS430. ACLK is nothing but auxiliary clock, and SM clock means sub main clock are outputs for the microcontroller clock signals. These can be used to supply the clock to the external components or diagnostic purposes. Whenever if are connected to the different peripherals to give the power for the different components, you can use these clocks. Next one, SCLK clock and SDO clock and SCL are used to for the universal serial interface. Yesterday we have seen in second chapter, that is SLK means serial clock, serial data. Okay, these are the pins are used for the universal serial interfaces, which communicates with the external devices using the serial peripheral interfaces. Next, XIN and XOUT are the connection for the crystals, which can be used to provide the an accurate stable clock frequency. For that, for MS430, if you want to perform the different operations, you should need the stable clock frequency, which is given by the XIN and XOUT pins. RST is an active low reset signals. Here the active low means it remains high near the VCC for the normal operations. Next one, NMI. NMI is a non-maskable interrupt inputs which allows an external signals to interrupt the normal operation of the program. NMI means non-maskable interrupt. When an interrupt occurs in the MS430, the device should be give the services. That's why it is called as non-maskable interrupts. You will get the all non-maskable interrupts through the NMI pin of your MS430 devices. Next, we will look for the different clocks which are related to the timers. TCK, TMS, TCLK, TDI, TDO and test is for the full JTAG interfaces used to program and debug the devices. Next one, SBW TDIO and SBW TCK, which provides SPI by wire interface and alternative to usual JTAG connections that saves the pins. Next, we will look for the architecture. It's very important question. Exam point of view, they are going to ask for the 10 marks. First, you have to draw the architecture correctly with all blocks with correct names. Now we'll see the diagram. Okay, from the diagram you'll understand what are the components are present in MS430 microcontroller. Here I have given all the pins and clocks, VCC, VSS and RAM, flash memories, and what are the ADC converters and what are the ports. You are going to use port P1, port P2, and you are going to use a 16-bit sigma delta AD converters. It has RAM of 128, flash of 1 KB, which can extend up to 2 KB. It has a basic clock system which takes the clocks from the crystal clock frequency, which is connected through the XIN and XOUT pins. Basic clock system is going to give the different clocks, master clock and the sub main clock and exit clocks, which is connected to the CPU, is going to perform the different operations by using the different clocks, including 16 registers, and it has emulation, JTAG interface, SPI by wire, and it perform the different operations. And to maintain and to control the operations of MS430, you are going to use different timing circuits that I have explained all these things continuously. Here you have explained I have explained related to the RAM, ROM, and you have the timing circuits, brownout protection circuits, watchdog timers, and to perform the universal or serial interface you are going to use the USI, and you have the timer registers, that is 2 CC registers, capture and control register, that is CC means, and VCC for the supply, VSS for the ground. Here I was told same thing again. I have explained all these things, and these main blocks are linked by the MAB and MDB. You can see the diagrams. Here you have MAB, this master address bus, master data bus, and you have the flash of 2 KB and 1 KB, and you have the RAM internally 128 bytes. Again you can extend up to one more 128 bytes. So finally you can get it on chip to 56 bytes, depends on memory organization. And you have the 16-bit delta AD converters. I explain here. It's a vertical features of this device. It's used for to convert your analog values into the digital values. So for related to the flash memory, it's 1 KB in F223 version, 2 KB in flash of 2013 version and 128 bytes of RAM. Next one, you can see that RISC, it has a RISC architecture, so it gives total 27 instructions and 7 addressing modes, and it has orthogonal architecture, means you can use every instructions with every addressing modes. Full register access is available using the RISC architecture, including program counter register, status register and stack pointers. And it has single cycle register operations. That means it has a 16-bit register file which fetches the code from the memory and it sends the 16-bit data to the memories. You can see here 16-bit megahertz CPU including 16 registers. Okay, here you can see that 16-bit address bus allows direct access and branching throughout entire memory range. Next, 16-bit data bus allows direct manipulation of word-wide arguments, and it provides the constant generators also, total 6, that is by using the emulate values. For that you can reduce the code size by simply using the constant generators instead of writing the instruction to access the constant values. Next, direct memory to memory transfer, you can do it without any intermediate registers, so it increases the speed of execution and you can perform the execution of every program in fast way. The byte addressing and instruction formats. Next one, tabulate CPU registers of MS430 microcontroller. Ask for 5 marks. So as I told in architecture of MS430, in MS430 microcontroller, it has total 16 registers which are present in the MS430. All are in 16-bit in size. So it has, you can see the diagram. Okay, that is I have listed all 16 registers. Size is 0 to 15 of every register. That means every register size is 16-bit. Like that you have total 16 registers. So out of 16 registers, so 12 register used for the general purposes, which start from R4 to R15, and remaining registers is kept for the R0 means program counter, R1 means stack pointer, R2 means to see the SR status, R3 means constant generators. Here first 4 registers is reserved for to perform the specific functions, and remaining registers kept for to use the general purpose functions. That means 12 registers you can use for the general operations for the MS430 microcontroller. Here, which provides high bandwidth 16-bit data and address bus with no paging. And already as I told, it has a RISC architecture with 27 instructions and 7 addressing modes in MS430. And it performs the single cycle register operations with full access, and direct memory to memory transfer is designed for the modern programming, and it uses compact silicon 30% smaller than 8051, which saves power and cost. Next, you can see that how the internally is constructed CPU registers. The R0 is first one PC program counter 16-bit 0 to 50. That is, next one SP stack pointer is to go perform the stack operations whenever interrupt occurs in the MS430. So addressable grade C code. Next, R2 is nothing but SR status register. That means it's a nothing but like a PSW in 8051. Here this register is going to maintain the status of all the arithmetic operations. Whether the result is negative, 0, if there is any carry, or if there is any overflow, like that is going to use it for that. So next, using the status registers, we can perform the remaining oscillator, CPU, constant generator operations also. Here out of that, some bits are using currently, some bits are reserved for the future enhancement. Next, R3 is constant generator, automatically generation of the common used values, which reduce the code size by 30%. Next, remaining all the registers are blank. Those registers used for general purpose. Depends on the values you are going to store, that value is occupied in this 16 bits of general purpose registers used for different arithmetic operations. Next, we will see the PC, that is program counter register. Each instruction uses an even number of bytes, that is 246. PC is word aligned, so LSB is 0. I have given some examples how to use the PC register. It always will follow the address of every instruction to be executed in the program. Next one, stack pointer is always point to the return addresses of subroutines and interrupts. And it is also word aligned, so LSB is 0 and SP is free decrement and post increment scheme. It is going to work. Whenever the interrupt occurs, the CPU is going to save its all the register contents to the stack by using the stack pointer register to perform the push and pull operations. So for that, it is going to perform free decrement and post increment scheme. Here, move to of SP comma R6 means the R6, the contents of SP, okay, that is going to store into the contents of R6. Move R7 comma 0 of SP means 0 plus SP. Overrides top of stack with R7 by doing the push operation. Next, hash 0123h put 0123 on top of stack. Okay, pop R8 means it is going to extract the data back to the previous place. You can see here in this diagram we are going to push 0123 here. Okay, it is going to store first one by one I1, I2, I3 values, push. After it is decrement, for every pushing the values of 16-bit, it push by 2 bytes. Next question is write a short note on MS430 status register which is asked for 5 marks. It's another special function register. The result for in the CPU register to get the status of every operations which are going to perform during the logical arithmetic operations in the MS430. You see 0 to 8 the bits are currently using for different operations. From 9 to 15 is reserved for the future use. So now we'll discuss all these bits one by one. C means it is carry flag, that is 0th bit. Z means 0 flag, first bit. N means negative flag, which is, gives the values of negative or positive. GI means global interrupt enables. So third bit of your SR register is used to enable the interrupts. SR4, that means fourth bit is CPU off. It is going to make the on and off of your CPU to perform the operation of MS430. SR5 is fifth bit of oscillator off. It is going to perform to enable or disable the oscillator. Finally, SG1 and SG0 is used to get the constant generator values if you want to use in your program. Finally, V is means overflow flag, which is whenever result of your arithmetic operations is more than predefined values or more than the value range, so the V becomes 1. So here I have given explain the full descriptions how overflow bit is going to work. It is set when result of an arithmetic operation overflows of the signed variable range. I have given the instructions. You can go through the instructions. Finally, the if result is negative, what is going to happen? If result is positive, what will be happens? If result is more than range values which is occupied by the register, so it is going to reset. Next, SG1 and SG0 both are system clock generators. The bit are set in terms of the sub main clock, and if it is 0, okay, it turns off the DCO digitally control oscillator. And if DCO clock is not used for whenever using the main clock or sub main clock. Oscillator off, this bit is when set, it turns off the crystal oscillator, and when low frequency crystal clock is not used for the main clock or sub main clock. CPU off is off, this bit when set, it turns off the CPU. If it is 0, it turns off the CPU. GI means general interrupt enable. This bit when set enable maskable interrupts. Whenever reset, all maskable interrupts are disabled. Next, negative bit to indicate the result whether it is negative or positive. Z means 0 bit. It's going to check the result of the byte or word operation whether it is 0. If it is 0, it is going to set. Result is not 0, it is going to clear. Carry bit, This bit is set whenever the result of byte or word operation is produce a carry. If not carry occurred, it is going to clear. Next one, explain the constant generators and emulated instruction of MS430 microcontroller. Then now we'll see which are the constant generators are available in the MS430. Here you can see the tables. I have given all the constant values for different register you can stores. R2 which produce 00 constant, no constant, but it is operate your R2 register for register mode. Next R2 is, if you given the 01, it is going to give the 0, that is going to operate absolute addressing modes. R2 is going to operate in 10, means it is going to produce the plus 4, that is 0004H values, which is going to perform the 4-bit processing. R2 if operate with a 11, it is going to give the value of 008H, which perform the 8-bit processing. R3 again next combination for the R3. Now it's done for the R2. Now we'll go for R3. Again for 00 to 11 combination, start with different values 0, plus 1, plus 2 and minus 1. These are the values going to produced by the MS430. And here how the constant generator is going to work here. That is, in place of source register, if you return the combination of this one, and finally move.w hash 001h comma r4. So 001h is a constant register that is automatically generated by the MS430, which is reduced the code size is 30%. Emulated instruction. Which are the emulated instructions? It is very easy to understand with no code size or speed penalty. It is replaced by the assembler with core instructions using the constant generator, PC and SP. Emulated instructions are going to derive from the core instructions. These instructions replace the core instruction and reduce the and increase the speed. CL or C means clear carry. It is emulated instruction. If you want to write it as a core instruction, you have to write like this: brc.w hash 01h comma SR, that is bit carry, okay, bit clear the carry of status register. It's a core. In this way you can clear the carry. Okay. Next, decrement dot w r4 means decrement the r4 by 1. But if you want to write in core, you have to subtract 1 for the r4. Return, it is a return emulator instruction to return from the stack pointer, return from the subroutines, and stack pointer is going to get all the details after completion of subroutine execution. That is going to write in terms of core. So move.w at sp plus pc. Next, write a short note on MS430 exceptions. This is asked for 5 marks. Here you have to write which are the exceptions are available in MS430. There are 2 types of exceptions, one interrupts, another one resets. During both time, the CPU will stop its execution and it gives the service for the services for the interrupts and resets. Then how interrupts are going to occur and what is going to happen by the processor of MS430, I explain here. You can go through that one. The interrupts usually generated by the hardwares, okay, although can be inserted by the software also, and oftenly indicate that an event has occurred that needs an urgent response. Whenever interrupts occurred by the hardware or software, that means CPU has get the signal, it has to stop its execution and it has to give the service for the interrupts. It's indicated by using the events. The packet of data might have been received. The processor stops what it was doing, okay, that has to be done. Whenever interrupt occurs, it has to stop and stores all enough information, the contents of program counter as well as status registers related to that programs, and for its to resume later, okay, resume later on and executes an interrupt service routine. So it has to store all its current information of the program. So after execution of interrupt, it resume back, okay, it returns to its previous activity when the ISR has been completed. Thus ISR is something like subroutine called by the hardware and unpredictable time rather than the software. The second use of interrupts is which is particularly important in the MS430 is to wake the processor from the low power state. If you are not using CPU for any operations, the CPU will go into the low power mode to save the power. If you want to wake up the CPU to perform the different operations by using the CPU, you have to use the interrupt to wake up the CPU. Next exception is resets, again usually generated by the hardwares. Okay, it is going to generate by the hardwares. The resets are when power is applied or when something catastrophic has been happened, the normal operation cannot be continued. This is can happen accidentally if the watchdog timer has not been disabled, which is easy to forget, and reset causes to device restart from the well-defined state. Resets, when it is occurs, it is generated by the hardware whenever the system is not perform the operations properly and stops to working unexpected manner. Next, if you are not disable the watchdog timer after counting values reached by the watchdog timers for up counter or down counter, immediately it is going to raise the signal to reset your system to make the restart from again predefined states to work properly. That is the main working of reset. Next one, explain the addressing modes of MS430 microcontroller. It's going to ask every time 10 marks. You have to explain all 7 addressing modes. I have given here the addressing modes. First one, register addressing modes. Here the registers are going to use index addressing modes. You are going to use the index address, that is to form the address for the datas. Next, symbolic mode. Here again you are going to use a program counter with X, which is going to store in the next word. Indexed mode. Next, absolute mode. Here you are going to give the address of your datas, that is you can say absolute address. X is stored in the next word. Index mode, X of SR is used. Next, indirect register mode. Here you are going to use the add symbol or as a pointer with the RN register. That's n values is changes at 0 to 12. And next one, indirect auto increment register. Same thing. Here you are going to use the add symbol as a pointer with Rn. Plus means it is going to increment and automatically by 1 after execution of the indirect auto increment instruction. Next one, immediate mode means here you are going to use a hash symbol along with a number you have to mention immediately after the hash symbol, so data will be present in the instruction itself. This all I explained with the examples. Okay, how it is going to use it in the programming mode. Absolute, register indirect addressing modes, register indirect auto increment addressing modes, immediate addressing modes. Okay, you can see here how it is going to access the data. I have given the examples, you just explain with the examples. Okay, immediate addressing modes, register indirect auto increment addressing modes, register indirect addressing modes. I explain 2 examples here. Next, absolute addressing modes. Don't worry about the table, you have to put this table and examples. Next, you have to explain this with below whatever given. Next, symbolic addressing modes and register index addressing modes, register addressing modes. Okay, these are different addressing modes you can use in your MSP 430. Okay, now go for next one. Explain the memory mapping of MS 430. Now we'll see the MS430 memory mapping, how your memory is organized for the MS430. You can see here it starts from peripheral SFRs. After that RAM, I kept this is for the to extend your RAM for the different versions of the MS430. After that you have the bootstrap loaders. Next you have the flash information memory. Again I kept blank to extend your flash memories up to again remaining sizes. and finally interrupt vectors, which is flash main memory. Finally, it gives a unified 64 kilobytes continuous memory map, some instruction for the result for data and some instruction for the peripherals, and program data in flash or RAM with no restrictions. We can extend the memories in both places. Easy to understand with no phasing is occurred. There is no phase wise or there is no sector levels. Designed for the modern programming techniques such as pointers and fast lookup tables. Next one, how if you open the internal structure again, if you open only peripherals, it is going to perform the byte level and word level. If you take the the data is going to store into the registers, okay, at word it is going to take 16 bytes, 16 bits. 16 bits and those are 2 bytes, and in that 2 bytes, one is 8 bit of low byte, another high byte is nothing but another 8 bits. The first is in higher address is going to store high byte one, lower address it is going to store low byte. So it takes the lower byte always store in even addresses, higher byte always store in odd addresses. Like this it is going to store the information. If you open the low byte again, how it is going to store? 8 bits values start from 0 to 7 and higher bytes start from 8 to 15. Like this it is going to store the bits inside the memory. Next, it has the special function registers concerned with only to enable some functions of the modules and peripherals, and sometimes they are going to use the interrupt enable and signaling from the peripherals. Next, peripheral registers with byte access and with the word access. We can perform the byte operation as well as word operations, which give the main communication between the CPU and peripherals. Next one, RAM, random access memory, used for to store the intermediate results using the variables. This always starts at address of 0x0 200 and upper limit depends on the size of the RAM, because in some versions it has 128 bytes, in some version it has a 256 bytes. That's the upper limit is not restricted. Next one, bootstrap loader contains a program to communicate using the standard serial protocols, often with COM port of a PC. Next one, information memories. It has a 256 bytes of block of flash memories that is intended for storage of non-volatile data. Next, you have the code memory, which holds your programs including executable code itself and any constant data. It is also upper limit depends on the size of the flash. F2013 has 2 KB, but F003 only 1 KB. And interrupt and reset vectors are placed after the code memories, used to handle the different exceptions of interrupts and reset vectors which are available in MS430 when normal operation of the processor is interrupted or when device is reset. Next question is, explain the low power modes of MS430 microcontroller clock systems. How the clock system is going to work for MS430 at lower power modes. Here you can see the diagrams. Once the clock is given by the X in and X out inputs of MS430, you will get a different clocks: exit clock, main system clock and subsystem clock. That's 3 different clocks, and here main system clock and subsystem clock is get it from the distally control oscillators, and auxiliary clock is used for the peripheral devices, which is get it from the crystal frequency, which is connected to the quartz crystal you are using in the MS430. It gives a different clocks at different modes to save the powers. Here I have given how the clocks are going to used by the peripherals and main devices, and what are the clocks are used for what purposes. You can see in this one slides, you can understand the master clock is used by the CPU and few peripherals, and subsystem master clock is distributed to the peripherals, and auxiliary clock is also distributed for the peripherals. Most of clocks are used by the peripherals, only main clock is used by the CPU, that is a main. It's mainly used for to save the power and is used to perform the operations with efficiently and effectively. It gives high performance and by using the precise frequency by for these three internal clocks. And this is a clock, that is exact clocks, comes from the low frequency crystal oscillator typically at 32 kilohertz. You consider main clock and that is master clock and subsystem master clock supplied by an internal digital control oscillator, that is DCO, which runs about 0.8 megahertz only in MS430 first generation at 1.1 megahertz in MS430 F2XS. For first generation it is work for the 0.8 megahertz. For second generation the frequency is 1.1 megahertz. So default clocks are different in different MS434 generations, but exact clock is same. Okay, in MS430 X4XX having different default master clock and sub master clock, but exact clock will be same. And exact clocks comes from again low frequency oscillator, crystal oscillator, with a frequency of 32 kilohertz, and DCO is going to give these two clocks, master clock and sub master clocks, which is controlled by a frequency local loop. This locks the frequency at 32 times the exact clock frequency, which is close to 1 megahertz for the usual watch crystal. And question number 12 is, you can see the what are the main differences between 8051 and MS430 architecture. It's going to ask for 5 marks. Here MS430 and 8051, you can see it here. The MS430 side it is 16 bit, 8051 is 8 bit. MS430 is going to use a 1-1 architecture. In 8051 it has a R1 architectures. Next, MS430 you have 8 kilobytes of RAM, 116 kilobytes. Again you can extend plus 256 bytes of flash or ROM. But in 8051 it's 128 bytes of RAM and 4 kilobytes of ROM. Next, in MS430 you have the 5 different power saving methods. Device can be operated at low supply voltage due to the CMOS process technology scaling, but in 8051 there is no power saving methods. Device operates at higher voltages. Again, next one, MS430 is going to use a multiple clocks. That is, you can see SMCLK, sub master clock, master clock and exact clock at different frequencies. But in 8051 it has only single clock. And in MS430 it has on-chip ADC DAC op-amps, but in 8051 there is no any on-chip analog or mixed signal blocks. MS430 handles mixed signals, 8051 handles only digital signals. And in MS430 it has a hardware multiplier and MAC units, but for 8051 multiplication and MAC operations are done in the softwares. With this, your third unit is completed. So watch this video carefully and solve all the questions and get the solution. If not understood anything, ask me back. I will get back on your doubts. Thanks for watching this video.